Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us to talk about how we transform the customer service journeys with process mining. So, we have a great session today. So, let's go ahead and always remind ourselves around our safe harbor. You've probably seen this before, but we're obviously going to talk about things that could be future facing, so you don't want to make decisions based on that. And we have a fully packed agenda and a lot of presenters here. Um, my name is Fernando. I'm here as representing the CRM AI business unit here, just with a little bit of background so you can see what is happening in the ServiceNow ecosystem. And then we also have Damian here, and we have Ini, and we have Milena from the Blackhawk network team. So very, very excited to have the whole crew here. And if we want to go ahead, always as a reminder, you can join us for other future events. You can obviously get a QR code and see all the other series that we have around how do you get deployment, adoption, and value faster. All right. So just as a quick housekeeping, uh, Q&A, we usually have it either on the chat that you can submit your questions, you can submit your feedback, your comments there, and we could always have time at the end to address them as needed. And yes, this presentation will be recorded and shared. And finally, after this event, you will probably have email with a short survey. So we appreciate that feedback also over there so we can keep on doing these events and make them better and better for you. All right. So let's, like as I just said, let's look at this agenda, fully packed, right? We are gonna have a quick overview of what CRM for AI looks like. Then we're gonna remind ourselves a little bit of what is process mining, why does it matter, why are we talking about this, and then we have a beautiful story by our great guest here at Blackhawk, and then we're gonna go to have some tips and resources, and then, like I said, we'll have a Q&A at the end. All right. So, in case you haven't seen this loop, this is what we call our infinity loop. And our point of view here is you cannot spell really AI transformation, AI working for people without CRM, right? A big portion, right, of the personas that we have heavily invested our R&D and what we looked at when we see an end-to-end solution for artificial intelligence really working for humans is looking at employees and customers. And if you go to the next one, please. The ServiceNow AI platform has really focused across the years on the CRM piece. This is something that people are like, oh, is this new? Are you guys just getting started with that? Not really. We've been on the CSM space, on the service piece for a bit, but now we can also sell and fulfill since, a bit ago. And this year, we're truly not only fully in, but we also have the point of view of truly bringing AI to every corner of how we basically bring these industries together, right? So as you can see, and for those that are not aware, we have three horizontal products. So that's CRM, right? Is CSM plus FSM plus some. And these basically are the ones that allow any of these industry products to exist in a way that are not only scalable, but also you can bring them to have more grounded data for your AI. So if you click on the next one, please, you're going to see that we talk about AI plus data plus workflows, right? And this is specifically what we mean every time we talk about this, right? We have industry specific workflows for service, for field, for your opportunity, your leads, your CPQ, all of that. And then on data, where you see there's a CRM foundation, we talk about things like sold products, right? Like install-based items, like accounts, contacts, cases, case types, right? This is what really fits into that piece, and obviously external pieces of data through Workflow Data Fabric. And like I was saying, this is built in. The tool is not bolt on in the sense of the types of AI that we have built across the years, right? And there is no way you can bring this AI to life without having that background, right? Or without having that history and that context, right? And we have, as you can see down there, three types of AI: predictive, generative, and agentic. And they were all built, again, purpose for all of these different use cases. So if we go to the next one, we're gonna focus on a use case over here on CSM. And then if you go to the next one, please. Um, we also are very intentional, right? Specifically when we talk about AI, on how do we address the typical challenges we see not only in really what it is and what AI can be a tool for you, but also these four layers that have been practically a design, right, of the product on how we have built it. So we talk about value. Is it relevant? Is it contributing to my business outcomes and success metrics? Should I build versus buy, right? Or is it just a chat or a flow? Scalability, right? How can I ground it? How can I bring innovation and truly create workflows that span multiple teams and days, right? Um, and grounded on your context, right? Is this process relevant, right? Or is it just more frustrating for your customers? Does it understand intent and sentiment, right? And is it secure? Is it responsible AI? Are we totally sure that all of these systems and this data is truly managed in a secure way in the AI platform? So all of these is what really brings everything together on the purpose of building value for our customers. And so if we go to the next one, of course, we have this, as we call it, unfair advantage of having data that has learned through our Now LLM through years, and also through any of our different pieces of information that, as you can see here on the right, where we have millions of tasks that we have analyzed, catalog items, like I said, install-based items, monthly search queries, right, that truly have informed not only productivity, but also grounding on your business context, right, on your process. And so if we go to the next one, this is really, it could be overwhelming, but this is our capability matrix of what we have every time you use AI in the CRM space. And like I was saying, this has been a journey that has grown across the years. And over here on the left, where it says predictive, on the agent scenario for managers, for fulfillers, is where you will find process mining is the four pill on the first column right there. It's part of our predictive offer based out of your data. And this is what we're double clicking on today. So that's so you have the context, right, of where we're looking at within this map, right? Um, and this is truly what informs generative, what informs agentic. You can get use cases, you can get direction, you can practically scale, right? And again, ground your data on business processes based out of that. So this is what really builds everything together. All right, perfect. All right, and then if we go to the next one, Damian, all yours.
Great. Thank you, Fernando and Imi. And so before we get into our session with, the Blackhawk story with Milena, who is really going to be the focus of the session, right? Telling a story. It's important for the folks who have not seen process mining before in terms of how it relates to the workflows that Fernando has just talked about and what Milena is going to talk about. I think it's important to understand what these capabilities represent, what they mean, and how they can help those outcomes that for customer support, for case management, all of those things, right? That Fernando had gone into. So, as a high level, what is process mining? Why is it important, especially in the context of what we've just seen from Fernando? And it comes down to this, in every workflow that we have within the platform or any application that a customer environment leverages for an outcome, we have a design path, right? There's an outcome that we expect and want, and we manage these, we measure them in dashboards and KPIs, and we expect them to happen a certain way. The reality of what happens in your environment may be very, very different for lots of sometimes very good reasons, right? We didn't expect specific things to happen, and sometimes they're maybe not expected or not optimized or something that we did not want to happen. People take shortcuts or unexpected outcomes or workflows or impacts to specific workflow, those impact the things that we measure, right? Or even the experiences or things like CSAT or SLAs that we care about, right? And that's why process mining becomes really, really important to start helping answering those questions that result on why those are occurring so we can take effective, positive action. We can do all of these things very easily within the platform because, going back to what Fernando says, we have an unfair advantage where we have all that data already in the platform. We can easily analyze that and discover that process that exists within the platform and even external to ServiceNow in a very quick and efficient manner. We're talking in minutes. And that's really important because once we understand how that works, then we can take effective, positive action through improvements. And I often get questioned, hey, Damian, where does this make sense? Do we need to hire a data scientist to get to use this? And the answer is absolutely not. It's meant for the process owners, the analysts, the folks that care about the how our customer cases are being resolved, the folks that care about how we're resolving those cases, and maybe even the subtasks that are supporting them. And again, this is meant to help those teams answer the questions that cannot be answered in dashboards. We'll get into that in further in a few minutes. But it's also meant for the operational leaders. If I'm looking at a dashboard, this could help answer those questions very effectively. And even within your organization that you have a process improvement team, this tool is for them. It's meant to be a continued conversation that you're already having in with your data. And again, we want to make it super simple, and it is. We're talking in minutes. And I often get questioned, hey, Damien, we're already using dashboards, and that's great. We fully expect that. It helps us understand what is happening, what type of cases are we meeting our targets? Are we closing them within the amount of time? Are they impacting our how is our CSAT doing? All of those questions, are all those things are telling us how we're doing. It doesn't tell us why, especially if I'm a process owner or an organizational leader that is being measured on that velocity and quality of work. The next question becomes if it's trending the wrong way or not meeting a goal is why is it happening so I can take action. And that action should be an improvement of some sort. And those dashboards tell us about what, and that's fantastic. We want to start having that continued conversation, and this is where process money comes into play. We help answer those questions in process mining in terms of, and you can see a list of all these different types of questions. Certainly not an exhaustive list, but certainly common ones that we see all the time. Where is our process stuck? Are approvals slowing us down? Are they conforming to our process principles? I had one customer that quickly found out during an implementation that their governance wasn't really hardened as well as they would have liked. Every agent was opening up every case as closed instead of going to work in progress, which becomes an auditing issue for them. So lots of great ways to start answering those questions that we have within our process. And again, the whole intent here is to drive an improvement. And that becomes a cycle that should exist in every organization. And I'm sure it does for most. What process mining gives you is an easy way to analyze and to understand the root cause. Give me that discovered process map. Allow me to expose improvement opportunities and leverage things like machine learning and generative AI to process and analyze things like short description and work notes. And ultimately, this becomes my pipelining method to create an improvement, right? Those improvements could be, guess what? You have a great automation platform within ServiceNow to drive things like AI agents. Um, Perhaps it's things like task intelligence, predictive intelligence, RPA bots. There's a wealth of great opportunities to drive automation. And may the ServiceNow God strike me down. Maybe it's not an automation; it could be just training, right? We can help customers, manage that as well. All of this, by the way, becomes a cyclical improvement process where we can then improve that, tie into things like continual improvement management or automation centers, start scoping and understanding the impact of those improvements, and then measure them in performance analytics. So again, this becomes an iterative process over time. If you can imagine, I've seen so many customers, going down this path of driving AI agents into their environments, understanding the impact once we've deployed them. Do we need to iterate? Do we need to improve them? All right, so this is where process mining can not only expose inefficiency in our workflows, but also how our AI agents and automations are performing as well. A couple of common use cases, not an exhaustive list, but certainly ones we see all the time. These are the type of questions that process mining helps us answer. Why is a piece of work on hold, right? And give me the root causes. Can we do better there? Understanding how work is being reassigned, perhaps too many times. Do we have bottlenecks? I love that very last one, automation opportunities. Process mining can easily surface where we identify what we consider low value work. Maybe a case is being closed within 5 or 15 minutes, and expose what kind of themes they are. Maybe those should be targets for an automation or an AI agent. Great ways to expose where we can drive efficiency, either tactically to answer a specific question or even strategically. You may have a goal that says, hey, we need to drive 10% utilization or cost down out of our support team this year. Where do we start looking? This can help answer those questions very easily. I will now turn it over to Milena.
Thank you, Damian. Hello, everyone. My name is Milena, and I'm with Blackhawk Network. If you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. I'm a process and mapping analyst, and my role is to focus on analyzing and visualizing business processes to uncover inefficiencies, opportunities for improvement, and things that can help us overall improve our processes. I work closely with cross-functional teams to document current processes and provide actionable insights that help streamline our operations, that also enhance our customer experience and support data-driven decision making. Blackhawk is a global leader in payments, rewards, incentives, gift cards, and e-gift cards. We connect over 9,000 brands across more than 220 countries and territories worldwide. And our goal is to create seamless connections between brands and customers on a global scale. As a part of that global effort, our customer service operations in El Salvador play a critical role in delivering high quality support experiences, and the team here works closely with customers across different regions, helping resolve issues efficiently while maintaining the high standards of service that our brand is known for. And it is also where we have been piloting new approaches like process mining to continuously improve how we support our customers. So at Blackhawk Network, delivering exceptional customer experiences is central to our business. And toward that goal, at the end of 2023, we began leveraging process mining within our call center operations. And with the help of INI, this innovative approach has given us valuable insights into our workflows, helping us identify key opportunities to enhance customer service experience. If you can go to the next slide, please. So today I'm excited to share with you how we make use of process mining and some of the benefits that we've achieved along the way. Go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So in call center for customer service, the SLA or service level agreement is one of the key metrics that measures the maximum acceptable wait time for answering calls, emails, chats, or providing resolution to the customer's issues overall. And meeting SLA targets increases customer satisfaction, which is beneficial for our CSAT scores and operational effectiveness. So taking that into consideration, when we started working with process mining, the main focus was to analyze the data of lines of business or products where long resolution times were an opportunity. So we decided to focus on a line of business where the established SLAs were not being met, to identify what were the bottlenecks, delays, or inefficiencies that we had, and target those improvements based on those findings to speed up the response times and ultimately ensure that the SLA targets were improved. So the SLAs are measured by tracking every interaction that any of our agents has with a customer. And these specific interactions are documented and tracked throughout the call with what we call a case. And in a case, we can see when the customer made the initial contact, the actions taken to help the customer, and the resolution timeframe as well. So this serves as the foundation for identifying and analyzing the workflows involved in resolving a customer's issue. So what you see here on the graphic that I'm showing is that there's a group of over 120,000 cases from August and September 24, which were the period of cases that we analyzed. So these cases that were created and resolved within that time frame were the ones that were showing an opportunity on improvement in SLA, and depending on the customer's type issue, the cases are categorized as priority one, two, three, and four by the person working on it and should be resolved within the timeframes you can see there. For example, priority one cases should be resolved within 1 day or 24 hours. So our opportunity was that as average, P1 cases, which should be resolved in 1 day, were being resolved in 2 days or more in some instances. So if you go to the next slide, please. By utilizing process mining, we were looking to optimize internal workflows, and our goals were to, number one, reduce reduction timeframes to optimize internal workflows across key customer service processes, such as car replacements, activations, records search for lost or stolen cards, and disputes, among others. Also, enhance the case prioritization by aligning the resolution times to service level expectations. For example, ensuring that P1 cases were resolved within 24 hours, priority 2 cases within 48 hours, and so on. And by reviewing those who aren't, identifying what the opportunity was. And lastly, to improve our customer experience, which is one of the main goals that we have by consistently meeting or exceeding promise resolution timelines, eliminating rework and unnecessary steps, and having all that as a starting point, I would like to provide an overview of the methodology that we use to pinpoint improvement opportunities, as you can see on the slide. So the methodology that we used was divided into 5 phases. We have phase one, which is finding definition. And this is where we identify inefficiencies and improvement opportunities. Then we have the second phase, which is leading influencers, where we identify key contributors to those opportunities. Phase number three, which was cluster analysis, which means to group similar records into clusters and analyze. So that means that we try to narrow down the data as much as possible. Phase four is work note analysis, which is where we review the work notes to identify similar patterns. And the last one, phase five, potential solutions, to look at solutions for these inefficiencies and drive for improvements. If you go to the next slide, please. So as mentioned, the first step was to establish a clear definition and focus area for us. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, for us, it was poor case resolution time, meaning cases that take longer than 3 days to be resolved. And this was important because poor case resolution time negatively impacts the customer satisfaction, the operational efficiency, and the overall productivity. So, identifying the root cause of these delays was crucial to us to enhance the performance, improve the service delivery, and meet the key business objectives. So, once we had that scope, we set up a project specifying key parameters such as the period to be analyzed, which in this case what were cases from August and September 2024, the relevant line of business, in this case, the line of business that we selected is called Hawk Incentives. Active activity definitions, for example, whether we want to include only active cases, the assignment groups handling these cases, resolution priority, the type of cases that we like to focus on, such as the contact type, which could be email, phone, chat, and any other criteria that we consider is essential to our analysis. So on the next slide, you can see that we reviewed the data set that was generated by process mining, and we selected a specific group of cases to review. So from the summary and insights tab that you can see there, we identified that the cases that were taking longer than an average resolution times are on the fourth row that you can see there. And using the process map for this, we then select the specific routes or paths that these cases follow. So here, cases awaiting requester information took longer than a day to be worked on. And this means that for this process, further information was needed from the customer. For example, if it were a car replacement request scenario, after the customer contacts us, if the car is expired, we need additional information such as an ID, a proof of purchase, to ensure that we are helping the owner of the car or the gift card. So this signals that there was a process gap worth investigating. For example, we needed to test the hypothesis of were the instructions given to the customer clear and actionable, such as what was the documentation needed or the timeframe specifications? Were follow-up communications actually being received and read? Was there any confusion about what specific documents were needed and why? Or was the process for submitting these documents user-friendly and accessible? So all of that could help us simplify the instructions, automate reminders, and improve our process overall. On the next slide, we can see that we have the route that it's generated after we choose our area of improvement. And in here, we can see that it was taking an average of 4 days for cases marked as awaiting requester response to be resolved. So the opportunity statistics are that approximately 5% of all cases, totaling 6,423 out of 137,000 more cases, were immediately assigned to an awaiting requester response state, resulting in an average resolution time of 4 days. If we go to the next slide, the third phase involves cluster analysis, and this step groups cases or records into clusters based on similar characteristics or patterns, making it easier to analyze common bottlenecks or issues. For example, in here, we were able to see that the highest number of records with opportunity came from a specific driver, which was expire cards. On the next slide, we will be able to see that we also ran a root cause analysis to narrow down the search, as I was mentioning at the beginning, for the largest group of cases with inefficiency. So in here, from within the group of cases that we selected, we can identify that within the line of business, the cases in CS specialist incentives have 64.82% likelihood of causing long resolution times. So this means that these are the cases that we will be prioritizing for our review. So what we do next, if we can move on to the next slide, please, is that we review the group of cases with potential opportunities selected. After we narrow down the data as much as possible, because we have a high number of cases, and I assign the workload to be reviewed by a group of 2 to 3 analysts. And for the final step, we regroup internally to share our findings, to look at solutions for the inefficiencies found, and to start a discussion to drive for improvements. So, as identified earlier, expired car replacement cases show delays specifically at the stage where additional information was requested from customers. So, upon review of the group of cases selected, we found that in many instances, the customers responded with required documents up to 3 days after the initial request was made. For example, as you will be able to see on the screenshots that we have here, in one case, the information request was sent on September 13th, with follow-up reminders issued on the 16th and the 17th. And despite this being a P3 case, which should have been resolved within 3 days, the customer only responded after 5 days that we sent the initial request, significantly impacting the resolution time. And we also identified for this group of cases that 91% of them reviewed experienced these similar delays. So this highlighted a critical area for improvement in communication clarity, follow-up effectiveness, and overall the customer responsiveness. So if you go to the next slide, please. Based on this opportunity, we took action by reviewing and updating our internal templates to ensure that clear expectations around response times were communicated to the customers. And additionally, we modified the email subject lines to highlight that follow up action was required and to convey a stronger sense of urgency to ensure that the customers send the information as soon as possible. Go to the next slide, please. Thank you. And as benefits from this, we expected to have faster case resolution, which was the reduction in resolution time to improve the service efficiency and the customer satisfaction, improve the customer experience as well to ensure that we increase their satisfaction and loyalty, and enhance process efficiency by streamlining case resolution to improve the overall business operations. So by running a comparison within process mining between the resolution times that we observed in the data reviewed at the end of September last year and the data that was generated in April 2025, after we made the review and we drove for those improvements, we can see the following. We have the Model A, which represents the initial data set, consisting of over 146,000 records, while Model B reflected data collected after our initial review changes. And in that comparison, we can see that it's highlighted the significant improvement in both efficiency and consistency. So, for example, routes reduced by 13% from 6,000 to 5,200, indicating that there is less complexity and more streamlined case handling. Then we have average duration of resolution time, which dropped by 30%, going from 5 days and 5 hours to just 3 days and 15 hours. And the median duration remains stable at 3 days and 1 hour, which show that typical cases are resolved just as quickly but more consistently. And most notably, the standard deviation decreased dramatically from over 1 week and 4 days to just 2 days and 10 hours, which means that there was significant reduction in resolution time variability and increased the process reliability, meaning that we were more consistent meeting the SLA targets overall. So those results show not only just faster resolution times, but a more predictable and efficient case handling system overall. And that's just one of the examples of one of the improvements that we have made. If you go to the next slide, I would like to share with you some other findings within our analysis that also have helped us improve our resolution time opportunities. For example, we identified that we had case aging issues. The issue was that the cases, particularly second response cases, were taking much longer than the SLA, which is 48 hours for the specific LOB to be resolved, with an average resolution time of 5 days. And the opportunity was that there was no systematic process for inspecting cases that exceeded the SLA after the initial assignment. So that meant that some of the cases remained unresolved until they were noticed by the operations team or escalated, leading to delays. Another opportunity that we found were reassignments. Those were cases that were being reassigned to a different agent up to 6 days after they were first created without a response, which added to the delay and complexity of the resolution process. Then awaiting requesters' information, the opportunity was that some cases were delayed or required follow-up because the contact form did not request key information up front. So missing those details, such as phone numbers or card numbers, resulted in additional back and forth communication and delayed resolution. So we identify that the absence of on those fields on the contact form, such as the card details or the phone number, were forcing customers to respond multiple times and were forcing the agents to ask for different pieces of information several times, which negatively impacted the customer's experience and increased the case handling time. And lastly, long routing times. And those were cases where routing took an average of 3 days to route to the correct assignment group, leading to delays in case resolution. What we realized is that there were cases being misrouted from one LOB to another and vice versa. However, for this opportunity, the number of cases was low in comparison to other opportunities, but we were able to identify something that was small but that signified a big change within our internal processes. And I think that will be all from my end. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Milena. That was fantastic. Glad to see you're getting great value out of process mining and helping with the outcomes that you guys are looking to achieve. This is really, really good information, and thank you for sharing that. I did want to share that everyone who's on and listening to this, that you could provide some examples of what Milena just did in your today in your production instance. And what we've done since the Xanadu release is have the ability to provide evaluation projects for every customer. In the Yokohama release, we included a few more use cases, including customer case. So what that means out of the box, you can go today to your process mining workspace in your instance, as long as you have access to your customer case tables and roles. You'll see a customer evaluation project available to you, giving you the opportunity to analyze in a curated way the last week's worth of customer cases up to 3,600 records. We've even included some improvement opportunity detectors in that project to provide evidence of where there is inefficiency as well. So, great way to, again, see evidence of how process mining can provide value very, very easily. We've also included other use cases for incident and HR case in Yokohama as well. So a great way to expose again and try this out very, very easily without having to do any setup. And by the way, the setup for this is very easy, and I'm sure Melanie can attest to that as well. I did want to go over a few different resources that are available for you for process mining. There is on-demand training. We've had some updated training that we just released, both for fundamentals as well as an advanced training for process mining. We do have a wealth of resources in our process mining community site as well. There's a getting started guide. We have our monthly process mining academy, similar to sessions like you see today. Short use case series, which are short 5 to 10 minute sessions and videos that describe very specific use cases. And we have live on now sessions such as this. Just a few more resources in terms of what we have. Again, you can use these QR codes as well. ServiceNow Impact, training and certifications, and expert services. So all again, helping you as customers getting AI put to work and helping your teams become more effective and efficient throughout any life cycle, especially within our CRM, CSM, and field service management environments.
This was a great session. I mean, that was amazing work that the Milena and the Blackhawk team has done. So, really putting all of this together, we appreciate you for taking the time, hearing this out. We're here to answer any questions in the future, or as you explore into maybe agentic use cases or how to use generative AI, all through process mining is truly how you bring value grounded on your data. So. Again, appreciate your time today. And this, again, will be sent out and recorded. So you'll find this for the future. And again, thank you for joining us. I hope we'll see you in the next one.